Greetings, welcome back, and here we go. We had 7 games on tonight in the NHL, and of course we had a West Coast game, but that West Coast game didn't end up going to a shootout, so haha, there you go, 7:30 starts and all. Tomorrow we have 10 games. The last one is a 7:30 start, so that means power rankings are late. The preview for Sunday is going to be late, so it's going to be a fun day. But in and amongst that, there is 5 hours in between when the early games get started and then the evening games get started. So I do have a bit of a break there during the day to do the treadmill and all that. So let's go ahead and jump right in. We're going to talk about Buffalo and the Capitals. So, for Buffalo, they're playing out the string, and at this point, it's about seeing what's going to happen for next year. And one thing that I do like with teams that are out of the hunt at this time of the year is seeing some of these younger players, seeing some of these guys and what kind of stats they can put up between now and the end of the season. A season which has been like no other. The Capitals get off to a fast start. First shot, Brendan Dillon from Schultz and Oshie at 2:39. Capitals would press it around the halfway mark, and then Ovechkin gets goal number 727. And it goes in off Rasmus Dahlin. Nothing Dahlin could do on that. It's Ovechkin. It's just one of those bank shots. He probably called it at the bench before he went out there. Okay, guys, I'm going to bank one in off Dahlin. No, you're not. He totally did. So, probably like Oshie owes him $50 or something. So he gets that. Dillon and Carlson with the assists at 11:29. We get a power play for the Sabres. That was killed off, but the Sabres do score before the period's over. It's Yoki Haru from Dahlin at 18:26. So Dahlin on the board with an assist and an accidental own goal in the first period. The Sabres then press for the tie. They get a power play. It did finish out, though that period is a 4-on-4. And early in the second, during the 4-on-4, Schultz scores from Eller at 28 seconds. The Caps going to the power play, of course, off of that 4-on-4 because Buffalo takes the second penalty there. Ovi had a chance that was stopped. It looked like this game could get really ugly at that point. Like if that had gone in, it would have been 4-1. Sabres tried to answer. Skinner was denied. I thought Skinner had a half-decent game. Again, for the Sabres, the bar's kind of low right now, but there were some good games there. Olofsson had a chance that was stopped by Vanacek. Rob Ray. So they were talking about goaltend or players and young stats and all this. And he said Rick Martin. And I'm like, that's Rick Martin. That's Rick Martin. How can Rob Ray not say Rick Martin? So, Rick Martin. However, Buffalo would score shortly thereafter after he said that. Middlestad from Asplund and Ristolainen at 10:08. And I just wrote Risto because I didn't feel like, putting down. Anyway. So, yeah, Middlestad gets a goal. He stays hot. He's been playing much better lately. Power play then for the Sabres. That was a no. There was a last-minute press by the Capitals, but it's 3-2 entering the third. This is not a blowout. Third period, early chance for the Caps was blocked. Orlov had a chance that was stopped. The Caps were pressing. And then Vrana, right around the mid part there. He scores from Schultz and Eller at 9:48. There was a press by the Caps then with 6:30 left. Goaltender gets pulled with 2 minutes and 15 seconds left by Buffalo. But they scored. Tage Thompson scores from Ristolainen at 18:40. So that's 2 assists for Ristolainen. They call a timeout with 1 minute and 11 seconds left, and they pulled the goalie again, and they pushed for the tie. Buffalo did not wave the white flag and give up at any point during this game. They do drop to 9-25-6. For the Capitals, an important win, 26-11-4. An important win they've got to, keep up, and they do tonight, so they even things out again. But, the shots in this one show it was close. Buffalo outshoots Washington in the first 9-7. Washington outshoots Buffalo in the second 15-12. The shots were 12-11 in the third in favor of Buffalo. Final shots, both teams had 33. Power plays, Washington 0-for-1, Buffalo 0-for-3. Vanacek saves 29 out of 32. Tokarski saves 29 out of 33. And maybe it just hurts him that he allows that goal on that first shot. If not, you'd have a totally different night for them. Next up. Well, this was fun, wasn't it? And if you're a Pittsburgh fan, probably became a lot more fun than you probably wanted it to be. You probably wanted this to be kind of a boring game, and then it wasn't. Wood would score from Bratt and Zacha at 3:01. So New Jersey gets off to the fast start. The shots were 4-1 for the Devils at 5.5 minutes, and Ken Danico kind of excited about how the Devils were playing at that point. McCann had a chance that was denied. There was a too many men call. for the Devils. So the Penguins get a power play, and it felt like that was against the flow of the play, and they score. So McCann gets the power play marker from Crosby and Rust at exactly 10 minutes. The Penguins then get another power play. That was unsuccessful. Bratt had a breakaway that misfired. The Penguins get another power play. That one is also unsuccessful, but Dumoulin gets a goal from CC and Lafferty at 19:13, and that one went in off Kuokkanen's arm. So no chance for Blackwood on that one. It doesn't help when the guy in front of the net is the one that's putting it in and he's your teammate. So we go to the second period. Gaudreau had a chance that was saved on a turnover. And then Jack Hughes gets a goal from Kuokkanen and Sharangovich at 5:39. Keep an eye on this line. I mentioned it in the last game. I'm mentioning it again here. This line could rack up some points between now and the end of the season. It was a dangerous rebound, too, where basically DeSmith saved the first two and then Hughes put the third one in. Power play then for the Devils. That was not successful. Colton Sevier would put Pittsburgh back into the lead from Letang and Jankowski at 17:38. We go to the third period. There was a first-minute chance for Zacha. Devils didn't give up any more than Buffalo did in this one. Penguins then get an early power play. It's their fourth of the game, and they score on it. It's Rust from McCann and Crosby at 4:06. So Rust had been kind of cold coming into this game. He gets himself going in this one. He'd had an assist in the first as well. And then Crosby scores from Gensel at 10:02. So for Sid the Kid, a goal and 2 assists at that point in the game, not too shabby. It's 5-2. Pittsburgh should be home and cooled. But Boquist scores at 11:34. That makes it 5-3. Sidney Crosby almost answers right after that. Gaudreau had a break. Blackwood made the save on that one. So Gaudreau had a couple of chances in this game. Goaltender gets pulled with 4 minutes left. There was an empty net chance that was blocked by Jack Hughes, so he's playing the defensive game too. And then Miles Wood scores at 18:27 to make it a 1-goal game. It's 5-4. And Dumoulin actually put that one in. So tonight was the night of defensemen accidentally putting it in their own net. But they pull the goaltender again, and eventually their luck runs out. Pittsburgh scores. It's Rust from Gensel and Letang at 19:35. Pittsburgh wins. It's kind of an ugly score, but they win 6-4. They go to 26-13-2. New Jersey drops to 14-19-6. So for Pittsburgh, big win in this one. They keep pace with the Capitals, and they get closer to another team that came up short tonight. And for New Jersey, it's another sign that this season's done. But keep in mind, we're seeing what these younger players are able to do. The shots in this one, 9-7 Pittsburgh in the first, 11-9 Pittsburgh in the second, 13-7 New Jersey in the third. Final shots, 29-27 New Jersey. Pittsburgh goes 2 for 4 on the power play. New Jersey goes 0 for 1. DeSmith saves 25 out of 39 at one end of the ice. Blackwood saves 21 out of 26 at the other end of the ice. And for New Jersey, again, you're just seeing how these kids are playing for the rest of the season. I know that from personal experience, sometimes when your team is out of the playoffs and you're just watching them, sometimes it's a little bit better because you don't feel that tension if they lose the game, right? You're like, well, it's fine. We get a better shot at a better draft pick anyways, right? That's usually the level-headed way of thinking of it. All right, next up. Rangers. So Rangers and Islanders in a series that's featured a lot of shutouts. Not a shutout tonight, but the Rangers are keeping themselves in this. We'll see how long they can stay in it, but for right now, they're in it. And for the Islanders, probably some frustration. But again, we're also seeing like Palmieri and Zajac are getting used to their new team. There's some of that going on here, so no reason to panic or anything, of course. And Lou Lamoriello's not the type of GM to panic. Anyways, so it was a wide open first minute, fast rushes both ways. The shots were 4-4 at 7 minutes, so both teams were getting opportunities at that stage of the game. Georgiev denies Nelson. The Islanders would press after that. The Islanders get a power play. There was a crossbar for Leddy, but that is killed off. And it's the only power play in the game. So this is the thing with Islander games. There aren't power plays. There aren't a lot of whistles. They're not usually games that feature a lot of fights. They're very fast overall games. So in terms of note writing for those games, they usually end up a little bit shorter. So there was a strong second half for the Rangers, but we come out of the first period and it's scoreless. So the Rangers had a very good road period, no scoring in the game. Second period, Early press by the Rangers. Another good start for Varlamov. And then Lafreniere scores from Kakko and Hedel at 6:05. I'm sorry, Lafreniere's playing really well right now. And I really think that if it was an 82, I've said it before, if it was an 82 game schedule, I think Lafreniere would pick it up and he'd get in the conversation for Calder by the end of the year. Varlamov stopped a chance from Kravtsov, but around the halfway mark, 10:01, Blackwell scores to stay red hot from Panarin and Strome. The Islanders would then score shortly after that, but that was called for a high stick. And it was pretty obvious right away that, yeah, that's a high stick. So it stays 2-1, or 2-0, but Andy Green would score from Eberle and Barzal at 14:53. That's Green's first goal as an Islander, so he hadn't scored since the trade from the Devils. And what was interesting was they gave it to Green, and then they switched it to Eberle, and then they switched it back to Green. So I'm going on the assumption it stayed with Green because it didn't touch anybody else after he shot that puck. Not that I saw in the replays. Third period. Islanders had some chances at 3.5 minutes. The shots were 5-3 Rangers at the half, so they're up 2-1, and they've only allowed 3 shots halfway through this period to the Islanders. Even though, again, we're seeing a game with few penalties and few whistles, the Rangers are holding their own. It's almost as if teams have kind of got the book now, and they're going, all right, we can play this way and maybe come out with a win. Barzal had a beautiful tip shot in front that was saved by Georgiev. Rangers press with 8.5 minutes left, and they score. Keandre Miller with the goal from Trouba and Panarin at 11:48. That makes it 3-1. And then Lafreniere and Hedel both had chances to add another. Lafreniere had a great one. In fact, Lafreniere was called for a penalty and threw it into the net. And it was a nice shot into the net, but I think he knew he was going to the box for a penalty at the time, so it's not like that counted. Clutterbuck had a chance that was kicked out. There was a power play then for the Isles, so there were 2 power plays for the Isles. It only reads 1 on the official score sheet when I wrote all the stats down. Crossbar for Beauvillier during that. And then they pulled the goalie with 2.5 minutes left, and then Zibanejad pulls it out of a crowd along the boards and just kind of flings it down the ice. And it goes into the net because, of course, he planned it that way. 18:48, don't know that he necessarily did. But at 18:48, that ices it. The Rangers win this one 4-1. They go to 19-16-5. The Islanders drop to 26-11-4. Shots in this one favored the Rangers in the first, 13-7. Favored the Islanders in the second, 16-12. And the Rangers 11-9 in the third. The final shots 36-32 for the Rangers. Power plays, like I said, the Islanders had to have been 0 for 2. I don't see the Rangers had a power play in this game. Georgiev, 31 saves on 32 shots. Varlamov, 32 saves on 34 shots. The 2 European goaltenders, pretty good nights for them. Not too shabby. All right, next up. Minnesota. Now, this is on purpose. So for anybody who, at the start of this video, said, he's got the Minnesota logo upside down, that's crazy. First off, you turn it upside down, you can see the shape of a tree right here, and it turns this becomes the trees, and then where the North Star is, and I think the moon or the sun, whichever that's supposed to be, it turns into, it looks like a knife stabbing a yolk. So it's different when you turn it upside down, but it still kind of works. So Minnesota's upside down because they're in distress. Flags are turned upside down by countries when they're in distress, and I figured, based on tonight, I even flipped the magnet upside down where they got their goal. So completely ready for in distress. This game had absolutely no tension in it whatsoever. Minnesota, this is easily the worst game they've played, and for St. Louis, the best game they've played at the same time. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times, and you just show one bench for the best of times and one bench for the worst of times, and that tells you the whole story. Both teams got early shots. That's where the happiness ends if you're a Minnesota fan. Sanford scores from Thomas and Bozak at 1:32. The Wild would press at 2.5 minutes. They did have chances. The Blues cleared out. The Blues pressed at 6 minutes, and of course they score because every time the puck was in Minnesota's end, it went in the net. Schwartz scores from Tarasenko and Dunn at 7:59. Now, less than a minute later, Minnesota answers. It's Parise from Soucy at 7:33. Then there's a near miss for Tarasenko at the half. Again, I'm taking notes like, this game is close. Let's see what happens. Schwartz scores from Shannon Krug at 15:23. Hartman then gets hit in the ear with a shot. At least it looked like it hit him in the ear. Didn't look pleasant. And then Blaine, he scores from Falk and Perron at 16:53. Sammy Blaine shows you that sometimes making a guy a healthy scratch is the best thing to happen to him. Since he's come back into the lineup, he is looking like Sammy Blaine again from 2019. That's the Sammy Blaine they want, not the one they've had for parts of 2021. That one was post and in. It was a nice goal. Binnington then denied Parise, and after one period, it's 4-1 in favor of St. Louis. And that's where things were good if you're Minnesota. Second period, O'Reilly scores from Blaine and Falk at 1:09. The Wild tried to answer. They got a power play. But tonight, that power play, it was a no. It was just a no. Shorthanded goal was scored on that power play by Ryan O'Reilly at 4:39. And then Falk made it worse from Thomas and Bozak at 8:19. It is halfway through this game, and it's 7. It's 7. I had double checked. 7-1. Halfway. And Kakonen's in for the entire game. Like, there's no thought of taking him out, because I'm guessing tomorrow night's Talbot's game, so you're just in there. This is 80s level. It's your game. Sorry. For the goaltender. And it's happening a lot this year, where games that would have made Patrick Waugh quit just watching, and these guys are being left in there. So, yeah, if you want to see Kakkonen nominated for Calder, tonight's game is just going to kill his stats. Third period, the Wild were seeking a good period because the rematch was tomorrow. They didn't get it. They really didn't. And I had expected. I thought, maybe they can have a good third period. Nah. Nope. Blues control at 4 minutes. The shots were 5-0 for the Blues at 7.5 minutes. The Wild would get a power play. Wallman, however, would score after that was over from Blaine and Perron at 10:17. So Blaine with 3 points tonight. Things get scrummy with 3:54 left because of a hit that Soucy threw. There weren't any fights afterwards, but it felt like that's why St. Louis decided, well, we might as well score again if Soucy's going to do that. So on the power play, Barbashev scores from Krug and O'Reilly at 17:39. So that made it 9. Now keep in mind, again, and I mentioned this, right? I have seven of each team on the board. I now have a bunch of teams that have got 8 or 9 back on the board. I started the season with 9. Usually as the season goes along, scoring drops. This year is completely different, and I'm thinking it's familiarity. You know these teams, you know these goaltenders, and when you've got that opening, hey, you just blast it wide open. Shots were 18-12 in the first in favor of St. Louis, 11-10 St. Louis in the second, and 9-3 St. Louis in the third. Minnesota didn't have a single good period in this one. Final shots, 38-25 for St. Louis. Power plays, 0-2 for Minnesota, 1-2 for St. Louis. Kakkonen saves 29 out of 38. 9 goals allowed. Binnington saves 24 out of 25. Quietly, Binnington has now had back-to-back good starts. I would think Husso starts tomorrow night. And for St. Louis, they're now 18-16-6. Minnesota's 24-13-2. And guess what? St. Louis, as of tonight, they are 1 point, I should say, out of the playoffs. 1. That's it. Now, I need to change boards. So if anybody from the NHL's watching, and they're not, 7 games is kind of the sweet spot for me when it comes to watching games, and especially when it's scheduled like this, where you have 3 and then 1 and then 3 late games. It works out really well for me to watch as much as possible. So, it's not going to matter. But I just want to say, it's kind of fun. This was an ugly game that almost became ugly for all of the opposite reasons in the third period. This is why you don't take your foot off the gas. St. Louis must have been watching this going, aha, see, that's why you got to, and please beat them, is what St. Louis was thinking. So, reverse retro night for Vegas. I still like those jerseys. If you don't like them, by all means, you can email me at the jerseys are really awful, and I don't care what THG says because he doesn't know what he's talking about, and I really wish that he'd stop talking about the reverse retro jerseys every time teams wear them because it's really wearing thin at gmail.au.gov. All right, so I'll get back to you right away. Early press by Vegas in this one. Power play then for Vegas, and they score because that's what they did in the first period. Marchessault from Pacioretty and Theodore at 3:03. Carrier then makes it 2-0 from Reeves at 4:41. The Coyotes have 1 shot, and that became a running joke in this game. Vegas pressed for another, and they score. It's Colasar at 6:59. The Coyotes still have 1 shot. Vegas has 3 goals. The shots were 16-1 at 8 minutes. 16-1. Poor Aiden Hill. Power play for the Coyotes, and because the Coyotes have the extra man on the ice, Vegas scores. Smith scores shorthanded from Carlson at 8:44. So Riley Smith's picking it up. Coyotes have 2 shots. Vegas gets another power play, and they equaled the team record for shots in a period with 22, and then they just stopped shooting at that point. That was with like 7 minutes left. They had 22 shots, and they didn't get any more shots in the period. Leonard was finally tested late, but they're up 4-0. Second period, relatively early in the second period, Chandler Stevenson, he gets in on it. It's like, hey, everybody's getting a goal. I might as well get one. From Stone and McNabb at 4:10. And they kept coming. They wanted more. The shots were 6-5 for Vegas at the half. They're up 5-0. Hill stopped a good shot from Smith, which felt pointless at the time, but whatever, right? Vegas then took their foot off the gas, and I've got it right here. Vegas really took their foot off the gas. You could see they had opportunities, and they just peel away. They'd get the puck in, and then they just peel away, go for their line change, and it was all right. Well, we're up 5-0. We're just going to let it go. We're going to let it go. I'm going to say right now, the next time they're up 5-0, they're going to make it 8, 9, or 10. So there was a late power play for the Coyotes, and they score. It's Schmaltz, and it's in the final minute of the period from Goligoski and Garland at 19:07. And that doesn't feel like it matters, right? It's 5-1 instead of 5-0. Somewhere, there's a Toronto fan going, oh, that matters. Third period, that was a 5-1 lead that became 5-2. Third period, Prosvetov is in. He would not really be tested. Vegas didn't get a lot of shots. And what Arizona got went in the net generally. Hunt scores from Kessel and Larson at 2:42. What is it with Phil Kessel in third periods? Go look up his stats. In third periods, he's fantastic. He gets another assist then on a Keller goal from Kessel and Dvorak at 3:40. That was a breakaway goal, and it's 2 goals on 2 shots for Arizona. And this was it was lazy play by Vegas defense. It was the kind of play you will see from a team when they're up, way up. So Riley Smith answers from Carlson and Marchessault at 9:44 as Vegas continues to play the hits on these kinds of goals where it's the first line from 3 years ago, right? But then Bunting answers 15 seconds later from Kessel and Schmaltz. And so at 9:59, suddenly this game is 6-4. This game should be over, and it's not. Coyotes then pressed for another. There were no Vegas shots it was over 8 minutes between shots. I don't know how long it was between shots, but I know at one point it was well over 8 minutes. They pull the goalie with 2.5 minutes left, does Arizona, not Vegas. They didn't do that with the lead. And then the empty netter, Pacioretty, who finally gets a goal. It's been a while he's been in between goals. So he gets one from Stevenson and Pietrangelo at 19:05. That makes it 7-4, and they win it. 26-11-2 now is the record for Vegas. For Arizona, this is a tough one. They lose 19, 17, and 5 is now their record. And now they're only 1 point ahead of St. Louis. And St. Louis has played less games than Arizona has. So that race in the West within 2 games has completely switched. Shots in this one, 22-8 for Vegas in the first. 11-10 Arizona in the second, and 7-5 Arizona in the third. Like I said, Vegas just took their foot off the gas. Final shots, 37-26 for Vegas. Both teams went 1 for 2 on the power play. Hill saved 27 out of 32 before he got the mercy pull. Prosvetov saved 3 out of 4. He wasn't really tested. And Leonard saves 22 out of 26. So Leonard continues to have an excellent record, but if you're Vegas, you don't want to see this game again. Next time they play Arizona, which is on Sunday, right? You want to see a game where they really, put their foot down and make them regret coming in and making a game out of this one. We'll see whether or not they do. Moving along. Colorado. Colorado can win games any way that you can imagine. So no matter what kind of game you throw at Colorado, they can win it. Tonight's a good example. Anaheim played so well. Anaheim played a really good game, but it's Colorado. And so that kind of fell apart. And Chushkin impressed early. Drysdale was matched up against the McKinnon line tonight. So I don't know that was all night, but they did pretty well. So you have Drysdale and I think it was Drysdale and Manson that were set up that countered them. They did pretty well. So did Gibson. Give credit where credit's due. Johansson saved shot number 1. Why is that important? Johansson, since getting to Colorado, has not saved the first shot in any game he's played. Turns out that's all he needs. And he's like, hey, I'm confident. Cool. Johansson, who I've seen the comments where he's the worst goalie ever and he's terrible. And, how can Shannon say he's a decent pickup for Colorado? He's awful. And, You think that the other guy was bad. This guy's going to be worse. Not tonight. Ducks press at 8.5 minutes. The shots favored the Ducks in the first half of that first period. Power play for the Abs. Gibson, great saves on Landeskog. Jost then had a fast break, which was saved as well. But we come out of the first period scoreless. Second period, Johansson robs Danton Heinen early. Jost had a shot that nearly fooled Gibson. Kind of went off his glove, and Gibson wasn't sure where it went after that. And I wrote on the board, who called a goalie battle in this one? Who this morning, when we were doing all the predictions on the preview video, said, well, Johansson's in net, so clearly we're going to get a goalie battle. And then, who can make that comment and not get an LOL response from somebody underneath? Right? Right. So, Ducks pressed at 8.5 minutes. It was a very evenly played first half, and very solid game by Anaheim again. A team that's so far out of the playoffs, but they made it competitive tonight. Power play for the Ducks, it would become a 4-on-4. Then the Ducks take another penalty. It became a 4-on-3 in favor of Colorado, which then became a 5-on-3 when the first Avs player comes out. And then it became a 50-second 5-on-4. This is all in the same period of time. Basically, all of it's killed off. None of it ended up mattering, but I thought I'd better get this on the board. The Ducks did kill it all off, and then Silverberg, out of the box, helped to get the Ducks a pretty good chance. He didn't end up generating the shot, but they had a good chance out of that. Gibson then stopped a chance from Graves, but on that same shift, it's Nichushkin getting his 9th of the year from Graves and Jost at 17-12. So he continues his hot streak. And it was a good press that led to that goal. And for Colorado coming into tonight, they're 22-3-2 when they score first. They score first, the game's pretty much over. And yes, I put the team's records over that when I saw that late goal. I thought, yeah, Colorado's not losing this game. You could feel it. Third period, early Ducks power play. That was killed off. The shots were 4-1 for the Ducks at 5.5 minutes. So again, like I said with Buffalo, like I said with New Jersey, it's nice when you see a team that's down and out, but they don't give up. They're not giving up. They're not just dialing it in or mailing it in. So not very many prime chances either way. There was some very good defense being played by both teams. Good clearing, not a lot of opportunities in front of the nets. Ducks were getting some ozone time around the halfway mark. There was a close call in the Ducks crease with 8 minutes and 20 seconds left, and things get kind of scrummy with 7:24 left. It was not a very scrummy type game, but later on it kind of got there. Gibson was the reason this was staying 1-0. There was a giveaway by Gibson with 3 minutes left where he was kind of stumbling to and he gave it away, but that doesn't end up doing any damage. You kind of thought maybe Colorado was going to score there. The Avs not letting the Ducks out of their own end. So this is where you normally will see the goaltender get pulled with 2.5 minutes left. They weren't letting the Ducks out of their own end. The Avs were doing a very good job of controlling the puck. It was with 50 seconds left, they finally get Gibson out. And then McKinnon gets the puck to Rantanen, who gets the empty netter at 19:26. The Avs win 2-0. They go to 27-9-4. The Ducks drop to 12-22-7. Good game for the Ducks. Good game for the Ducks. Shots, 9-8 Colorado in the first. Both teams had 12 shots in the second. 14-8 were the shots in the third for Colorado. Final shots, 35-28 for the Avs. The better team wins. And for the Avs, very important that they record a shutout tonight after the way that last game went. Power plays, Colorado 0 for 3, Anaheim 0 for 2. Johansson saves 28 shots for his first career shutout. And it feels like this is the kind of game, too, which will show Grubauer, you don't have to do everything. We can give you a night off. Gibson, 33 saves on 34 shots. He was excellent. Both goalies were very good. And, yeah, I'm looking forward to the rematch, which will finish out the season series, right? I believe that's 7 matchups between them out of 8. All right. Finishing it off, LA and San Jose. I don't know what magic San Jose has against LA, and I don't know why they have this on LA this year, but they really do. This is one of those games, too, where it's a head-scratcher if you're a Kings fan. 30th anniversary jerseys being worn by San Jose. Like them a lot. I decided to opt for St. Louis because that was an amazing win tonight, and it would be almost criminal not to have worn St. Louis after the game they had tonight. But, yeah, 30th anniversary jerseys look very sharp for San Jose. Remind us of when they had all the striping on their jerseys that looked nice. You could put the regular logo on and just didn't anyways. Iafallo would score from Brown and Kopitar at 2:27. What's interesting is that's the first shot. So you're looking at this and you're seeing Martin Jones in net. You see the first shot go in and you're thinking, all right, so is this one of those nights where Martin Jones is going to struggle? It's not. The Sharks get a power play. Iafallo would then get a chance right out of the box. So he scores and takes a penalty. But he gets a chance right out of the box. Kings then get a power play. That was killed off. And it was quite clear at that stage Jones had recovered from allowing that first goal, something that he's very good at this season. LeBanc would score from Burns and Ferraro at 8:01. The Kings would get some pressure with 6 minutes left in that period, but Marleau scores from Burns and Sorensen at 13:50. They reviewed it. He directed it with his skate. He didn't kick it. And directing it with your skate's okay. Kicking it with your skate is not, so there's no distinct kicking motion. The goal stands. And so for Marleau, he's had goals in a couple of games in a row now. And for Marleau, you've got to think, looking at how San Jose is playing right now, he may not want to get traded. I know he said he was open to being traded to contender, but they're in this. So Balcers would score from Meyer and Carlson at 17:17. That makes it 3-1 San Jose. In a period, the Kings played pretty well. Second period, early chances were for the Kings. Not that all of them were getting on net. As an example, at 8 minutes, the shots were only one apiece. Jones poke checked the puck off of Grundstrom's stick. Kings press. Jones covered it. McDermott and VL then had a fight. He was being called Veal by the Kings announcers. It's VL, not Veal. I know VIEL. It's easy enough to call him Veal, but it's VL. That's the way the San Jose announcers say it. I always go by how the announcers for that team pronounce the names. That's how I go by the pronunciations. That's why I watch as many different feeds as possible during the season. So they get 7 minutes each out of that, and that's an even up. That's one of those ones where one of them I think was called for slashing and the other one unsportsmanlike conduct. You didn't have to call the unsportsmanlike conduct, but you can see the referee wants to make sure it's evened up. There's no power play out of it. There's no 4-on-4 play either. We're then treated to a power play for the Sharks. That didn't work, and then Wolanin had an opportunity that Jones stopped after the power play ended. Iafallo had a breakaway. Jones saved that. The Sharks get another power play. There was a shorthanded breakaway for Moore, which was saved. And then in the last minute, the Kings get a power play. So, a lot of opportunities at the San Jose end for LA not going in. Third period, one of them does. Anderson Dolan at 1:02. And it's not a great goal. So, Jones allows a goal in the first shot. Jones allows a goal early in the third period, which was not a fantastic goal. But unlike other games that Jones has had over the last couple of years, he recovers from it. Peterson stopped a shot from LeBanc. Jones made some needed saves at 7 minutes. Needed because they're only ahead by 1, and he needs to show he's still dialed in, which he absolutely was. The Kings needed to get rebounds as well. He was covering it, or San Jose was clearing it. There weren't a lot of second opportunities for the Kings at that net. Post then for Knyzhov. Jones robbed Carter with 6 minutes left. There was a power play for the Kings with 4:05 left. That was unsuccessful. And then Gambrell. During that power play, actually, Gambrell gets the goal from Kane and Burns at 17 minutes. So Burns gets it in his own end. And then he just flings it out. And the Kings were probably thinking he was just clearing it. For some reason, Gambrell and Kane are both at center ice, completely behind the power play. So they just went in by themselves. Gambrell to Kane, Kane to Gambrell in the net. Good luck, Peterson, on that one, right? So that's something that shouldn't happen, but Kane's an elite level goal scorer, and Burns is a pretty good offensive defenseman, so that can happen. And it was, 2-on-none, shorthanded. They killed off the rest of it. Goaltender gets pulled with 1 minute and 45 seconds left, and Hertl adds the empty net goal at 18:41. So the Sharks win this one 5-2. Final score makes it a 15-18-6 record for LA, who, again, the odds of them ending up in the playoffs are slim because San Jose 18-17-4 is ahead of them. The Sharks are ahead of them, obviously. The Coyotes are ahead of them, and the Blues look like they're starting to turn their fortunes around. Makes it difficult for the Kings. We'll see if that influences what they do on Monday or between now and Monday, right? All right. So, rumor has it, anyways, Rob Blake may be listening to offers on Iafallo. I think Iafallo tonight made a good accounting for himself, and there'll be somebody calling about Iafallo between now and Monday, and maybe making a pretty good offer. I will say this: whoever gets Iafallo, they're getting a pretty good player. I've always been an Iafallo fan. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts regarding these games in the comments section below as always. Don't forget, there will be the preview tonight as well because we have early games tomorrow. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.